Hi, this is Cantor Manny Silver. I am the cantor at Temple Bethel, and this week it's my honor and privilege to pinch hit for Rabbi Allan Tuffs, who is on vacation. So I'll be talking a little bit this week about this week's Torah portion. This week we begin the fifth book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, and the Torah portion this week is Dvarim, which could be loosely translated into discourse or words. And what it is, this whole book, the last book of the Torah, is the discourse of Moses, Moshe. He's speaking to the Jewish people as they are about to enter the Promised Land. His life will soon end, and this is the 40th year of their wandering in the desert. So their time in the desert is about to end. They are about to enter the Promised Land. So as we begin this week's Torah portion, the Jewish people are encamped in the land of the Moabites, east of the Jordan River, east of Jericho. And Moses is giving them a review of what they've been through the last 40 years. And he goes through all the places they've been, all the things they've been through in the desert. And he starts out with the exodus from Egypt, and they crossed the Red Sea. God saved them then, and how they were nourished by manna from heaven in the desert. God was with them all along, and yet they were always complaining. They were always saying, why did you take us out of here? Why can't we go back to Egypt? And this generation, because they did not show enough faith, they were not allowed to enter the Promised Land, and Moses himself will not enter the Promised Land because he too did not show faith, he did not obey God, and like the captain of a sinking ship, he must suffer the same fate as they. So as this Torah portion begins, Moses is actually talking to the children of the people who perished in the desert. And he's telling them what will be as they enter the Promised Land. One of the things that really strikes me about this Torah portion is how this generation, which had seen so many miracles, which had been delivered from slavery by God, and the plagues that struck the Egyptians when God freed them from Egypt. They had crossed the Red Sea. They had survived everything in the desert with manna from heaven. And of course they had been at Mount Sinai when Moses received the Torah. Despite all that, they lost their faith. And when God was telling them that they would be soon entering the Promised Land and to send scouts, or sometimes spies, as is translated into English, he said, send 12 scouts, one from each tribe, into the land and see what it is like and come back with a report. Well, 10 of the scouts came back with a terrible report. And in effect, they slandered the land of Israel and they discouraged the people. And this is why that generation was not allowed to enter the land of Israel. They had the mindset of slaves, and they were not fit to enter the land of Israel. So what strikes me is, no matter what happens in our life, I think it's just human nature that we take miracles for granted. Miracles of waking up every day, the miracles of our bodies working, the miracles of light in the morning, of darkness at night. And what I wanted to say was, we have blessings every day in our daily worship service, where we have blessings for daily miracles. We have blessings for that. We thank God for the miracle of the human body. We thank God for bringing on the light in the morning, for bringing on the darkness at night. We thank God for the gift of motion, for the ability to stretch. There's a blessing where we thank God for being able to live on dry land. I mean, just a few blocks from here, the ocean begins, and if we were just a few blocks from here, we wouldn't be able to live. So I think one of the major lessons of this portion is to be aware of our blessings. Always be aware of our blessings from God. One of the other things in this Torah portion that I think is worth noting is, during this Torah portion, Moses always addresses the people as you. And he says, you did this, you did that, you lost faith. And in reality, he's speaking to the generation that didn't do this because it was their parents. And the point of it is, Jewish history is a continuum. We are all supposed to feel that we were freed from Egypt as slaves. That's part of the Passover Haggadah. We are all supposed to feel that we were there at Mount Sinai. They say that everyone was at Mount Sinai, the ones who are no longer alive and the ones that are yet to be born. And in fact, one of the last lines in this book of the Torah is a famous verse that we recite on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year for Jews. And here is the verse, actually the two verses that we read on Yom Kippur, that stress that Jewish history is ongoing from those who have lived before, those that are here now, and those who are yet to be born. V'lo itchem levadchem anochi koreit et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot. I make this covenant with the sanctions, not with you alone, but both with those who are standing here with us this day before the eternal our God, and with those who are not with us here this day. So that's about it for this week's Torah portion, Dvarim, as we begin the final book of the Torah, and we wind down the year, and we get ready for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which will be here before you know it. You're all invited to join us for services here every Friday night, 7:30 at Temple Bethel, and on Shabbat morning at 10:30. And we have a wonderful Torah study class every Shabbat morning at 9:30 in the morning. And the rabbi leads that Torah study class, and sometimes I lead it, and we really go over each week's Torah portion. There's so much to learn. And we've been studying, the Jews have been studying this, and the non-Jews also, studying the Torah, the Old Testament, for over 3,000 years, and there's always more to learn, and we find all ways to make the lessons of each week's Parsha relevant in our lives. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.